Want to level up your leadership? Welcome to The Boss Coach.
A dash of cool, a splash of class. The Boss Coach leads, no time to pass. Oh, the Boss Coach, the leader's guide.
Let me tell you, friend. Hey, look, you listen to other podcasts, right? Well, tell me my theme song isn't the best. You can't, can you? I mean, sure, it's corny, but in a really good way, right? Sure, why not? So, hey, boss, how's business? You know, it's Halloween week when this is being released originally anyway. So does your office do any kind of a costume contest? Maybe lunch, pumpkins? I don't know. We have a pumpkin cookie decorating contest, which is a lot of fun. And when we're done, we get to eat our artwork. So you can't get any better than that. Well, thanks for clicking and listening. My name is Patrick McGranahan. Welcome back to The Boss Coach. If you're new to the show, as I always say, please check out the podcast trailer. That is episode 100 for a little background on what The Boss Coach is all about. And what's this episode all about? Well, this one's going to get personal, and it's all about the creed.
What is wrong with this woman? She's asking about stuff that's nobody's business. What do I do? Really, what do I do here? I mean, I should have written it down. Quabity Ashwins. No, but I'm getting close. Nobody steals from Creed Bratton and gets away with it.
Okay, no, not that creed. What is your leadership creed? You know, it's like a personal statement that articulates a leader's core values, their beliefs, intended behaviors, kind of serves as a guide for how they lead others. It could be a powerful tool for, I guess, self-accountability and for communicating like a consistent vision. Leadership consultant Katie Anderson puts it best. She said, "It is a way to make the invisible visible. Your creed or credo defines who you want to be and how you plan to show up each and every day to be that person." Now, I love that. Now, I probably don't need to sell you on why it's important to have a creed. You know, author and CEO Kerry Siggins said, "Remarkable leaders know that they must consistently align their decisions and actions with their values and beliefs. In doing so, they show that they have integrity and they walk the walk, so to speak." So exhibiting this type of alignment is also the only way to build credibility, trust, and respect with those who you lead. Did you catch that? The only way? That's what Kerry said. It's an absolute statement, but she's not wrong. Operating from your creed means that your belief systems are in check. It's the key to authenticity and intentionality. And that's extremely important. There, I went ahead and sold you on it anyway. But you know what? If you want to be a remarkable leader, keep listening. Because it's not just about leadership. Your personal creed helps you live authentically as well, not just lead authentically. For remarkable leaders, those two are one and the same. Coming up with your creed isn't that fancy. In true boss coach form, let's break this down into a simple formula. Because there's only 4 real components to a good creed, and here they are. Creed component number 1, values. Identifying the principles most important to you as a leader, ergo, integrity, respect, courage, compassion, or whatever, that is part of getting your values. For me, it's empathy, authenticity, education, community, engagement, family, justice. I have a lot of values, but you get the idea. They're in the same thread. Well, how do you figure that out for yourself, what your values are? Well, I'm glad you asked. Think about the peak moments in your life. Okay, did you come up with one? Whatever comes to the top of your mind is going to be a peak. What were you doing? What did you feel? You know, it was a peak moment because you were living out your values. You were being authentic. That's what made it a peak for you. So one of my peak moments of my life was back when I was involved in children's ministry, came up on the Christmas season and they invited me to do the Christmas sermon. Well, not really a sermon, it was a storytelling. So I came up with an original tale that had lessons related to the Christmas story, but also related to everyone's normal lives. It was great. It was targeted at the whole congregation, and it really was one of the highlights of my days. I felt all my values in that moment, and that's what made it so special to me. That's what made it a peak value moment. Creed component number 2 is purpose. That means defining what you and your organization aim to achieve, and I guess your role in that mission. But a creed is not a mission statement, don't get me wrong. Those change from time to time and are really business-based. Creeds are your personal commitment, which is unwavering. That's evergreen. Well, how do you figure that out? How do you know what your purpose is? Well, ask yourself what things you do well. Think about that. Now ask yourself what you feel most people need. Where those two things converge is your purpose. You know, for more on this, I would recommend reading Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. Though it is a little more of a religious angle, still really helps you to dig deep into what your purpose is. Here's an example of my purpose as a leader. Okay, so I thought, what do I do well? Empathy. I feel like I do empathy well. What are some things that people need? Well, safety and compassion are probably the top 2. Do those intersect? Well, yeah, of course they do. I provide safety and compassion through my strength and empathy. Therefore, that's my purpose. That's how I came up with it. So what people need, what you're good at, and how can you put those together? The third component is intentions. As you heard me say, some common sayings are BS. And one of them is, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. I think that is so wrong. I think all we have in life are our good intentions. That dictates how we think and how we feel. Sure, maybe we can't execute, but I would rather work with somebody who has the best of intentions but poor execution than really bad intentions and really good execution on those bad intentions. You know what I mean? So I think that intentions are everything. It specifies how you intend to behave and show up as a leader. I would say that's kind of like being supportive, accountable, willing to accept a challenge, etc. Intentions aren't the how we do things, they're the why we do things. So how do you figure that out? How do you figure out your intentions? Well, the Mentorist organization says to distinguish your seeds from your weeds. What does that mean? Well, let's say you want to get in shape, okay? A seed intention means you want to do it to be healthy. A weed intention means you're getting in shape to get revenge on an ex. So what's the difference there? Intention. The why. Why are you doing it? Remember my episode, Why Do You Want to Be the Boss? That was one of the very first ones. That's all about intention. Do you want to be a boss to get power, to lord over people? Or do you want to be a boss to be a caretaker? It's all about the intentions, regardless of your execution. I feel like my intentions have changed over time. So let's look at when I was in debate. I debated in high school and in college, which is a whole nother story. But the reason I got into it originally in high school was that we came from a pretty poor background and we didn't really travel much, didn't see any place. I found out that if you get in debate, you get to go on these overnight trips to exotic cities like the one an hour away or whatever. But it was a big deal to me. So I joined it for the purpose of getting to see more of the state, more of the country. So that's why I joined, but I stayed in it because it made me happy. I realized I was good at it. I could help the team win. Success was my intention, not just the perks anymore. So you really can have changing intentions over time as long as they're improving. And then there's creed component number 4. Actions. Of course, we had to get to the action phase. Outlining the specific actions that you'll take to align with your visions and purpose. So ergo, I will listen with an open mind, or I will learn and grow. So action is what brings it all together. I'm using my values. I establish a purpose based on my intentions. Now, how am I going to do it? So actions are the how. Well, how do you figure that out? Ed Barrows of Brown University urges us to make the action vague. So in your creed, this is going to be evergreen. It's not, I will acquire X company, but instead, I will expand my reach through acquisitions and inorganic growth. You're saying what will be true today, and it will also be true in 2 years. Think more about the gut instead of a structured thinking type of a thing. What are the actions I'm generally going to do to bring about my creed? I remember when I moved from individual contributor to leadership, I had kind of a soul-searching moment. Once I knew my values and my purpose and my intentions, the action I would take is to expand my reach to build my own opportunities, right? I wasn't waiting for someone to give me one. I had to go out and find it. I made it clear. I took actions to get there. And having a creed in your heart gives you the clarity, and most people respond well to clarity and therefore help to provide you what you need and what you want to do. So the actions come naturally when your creed is set. But you might be thinking, but the creed really is just for myself. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's personal. Think of it as your operating system. If that's not running well, you can't run any apps or get anything done. So take care of building a good creed, which is your operating system. Let me walk you through what became our family creed. So it was a Father's Day one year, and I kind of looked back and thought, am I really imparting any wisdom? Am I really affecting? I feel like I've got lots of little sayings and things, but not one unifying mantra, not one creed that explains what I think we're all about. I worked on it for a while, and then the next Father's Day, a year later, I finally thought I was ready, and we call it the McGranahan 3 Ups. I tried to make it catchy and memorable rather than really wordy. It should be more simple. On that Father's Day, I sat down and told them my 3 ups for our family creed. The first up is show up. Now, this one is for your family. You show up for your family, or in terms of the office, for your team. In the movie Hardball, Keanu Reeves, yes, I know, a philosopher of our time, said something to the effect of to the kids on the baseball team that he knows what they're going through in their family, in their neighborhood, in their city, on the streets, and they still kept coming to practice. That was kind of like their safe spot. They come to games because that's their safe place where they can all get along together and they know they're taken care of. And so he said, there are so many reasons for you not to be here, but you always do, and I am so impressed by your ability to show up. And I use that quote sometimes at work, sort of to be acerbic, but in reality, I am. People make the choice to join you and do things with you and whatever, and that's big. So I don't overstate the fact that is an important thing, just showing up. It's about being there when they're needed, and that's everything. When you get that call at midnight to take someone to the hospital or pick somebody up on the road after an accident, you show up every day. You just show up and be there. You be reliable. That speaks volumes. The second up is stand up. This one is for others, mostly people in need. Stand up for justice. Go to rallies, do charity work, donate to those in need, help a friend move, drop some canned food in the drive barrel, well, whatever. Help others. Stand up for those that need it, not just in your family. And then the third up is step up. This one is for you, yourself. Excel in whatever you do. You try to do better, try to get better. Go for the personal best at the gym. Set that sales record, get that promotion, write that book, start that podcast. Be what they call a real stand-up person. So show up, stand up, step up. And the order is very important, by the way. Show up first for family, because family's first. Your inner circles, your team, your company. Stand up next for the needy. They're next on the agenda. You're there for your core people. Next is stand up for those in need. They are the world, your neighbors, whomever. That's next. That's the next most important. And then third, step up for yourself. Put others first, above yourself, and that changes your mindset. Yes, you should still step up for yourself. You are very important. Taking care of yourself is extremely important, but that's third place. And so the order of process here is very important. Show up, stand up, step up. I put those 3 ups on a magnet and gave it out to the kids. Now, every year on New Year's Day, I also present the Family Creed Awards, where we celebrate how everybody either showed up, stood up, or stepped up that year. Do they think it's corny? Of course. Is it meaningful? Absolutely. Will it outlive me? Undoubtedly. And that is the point of a creed. So here's what you can do right now to level up your leadership through your creed. Go through the exercises of building your creed, just like we talked about before, those 4 components. But don't run it by anybody. This is just for you. This is yours. And then put it on something. Make it a graphic, frame it, put it on a t-shirt, a frisbee, whatever. Just memorialize it somehow so you have a legacy, because your creed is your legacy, boss. See, I told you this is going to be personal. The creed is your operating system. It's how you show up. It's what you do. It is everything that makes you run. So, thank you for your time. I'm Patrick McGranahan, the Boss Coach. Make sure to subscribe and thumbs up so you get notice of the new episodes. And hey, share my episodes with friends. A lot of you are doing that, and I appreciate it. It helps spread the word. But also, send your comments, too. That's supposed to help the algorithm or whatever. Can you do me a favor, actually? Just drop me a quick comment on this episode. Even just one sentence. Tell me your creed. Or just even tell me if you like my 3 ups creed. That's a nice start, too. But just drop something on there, and we'll see if that helps things out. But I also just like to know that I resonated with you somehow. And that's part of the process here. That's part of our journey together. So until then, I'll see you next time on The Boss Coach. Back to work, boss.
Can you take me higher to a place where blind men see?
Thank you for joining us today for The Boss Coach, hosted by Patrick McGranahan. We'd also like to thank our associate producer, Hannah, and consulting contributor, Stephanie. Original music provided by Sono AI Studio. All statements and opinions by our host and guests are solely their own observations and may not reflect those of their contemporaries or employers. Please check out other episodes of The Boss Coach for more valuable opportunities to level up your leadership. Until next time, I am your announcer, Ava. Have a great day, and as always, lead with your heart.